Hey everybody, welcome in. My name is Ben Aboud. I'm a solutions architect with Databricks, and we are really excited to talk to you guys today about the recently announced Palantir and Databricks partnership. I'm joined by my colleague Sid. Over to Sid.
Yeah, my name is Sid. I'm representing the Palantir side of the house. I've been leading this partnership with Ben for a few months now. I'm an architect at Palantir, so really happy to talk to you about all the investments in the product that we've made so far.
So today we're going to cover a few things. We're going to start with why we're partnering, then we're going to go into how we're partnering, and then I'm going to kick it over to Sid for a brief demo of some of the integration work we've built as part of the partnership. Today, we're going to tell you guys how you can bridge your ontologies with your Lakehouse with the Open Data Intelligence Platform and Palantir Foundry and AIP together. Before we can talk about the partnership, I have an obligation from our legal team to let you guys know that any forward-looking statements that either I or Sid makes today are not guarantees of future performance by either Databricks or Palantir. Awesome. Now that we have the legal stuff out of the way, we can talk about the partnership. So before we get into the details of how we're partnering, I want to orient around why we're partnering. It should come as no surprise that Palantir and Databricks have many joint customers. We often saw the Open Data Intelligence Platform and Palantir Foundry and AIP being deployed side by side to power our customers' businesses. We set out to streamline the interoperability between our platforms to do things like enable secure data sharing between Palantir and Databricks, and to maximize operational efficiencies through things like reduced data duplication and AI and workflow integration. The Databricks and Palantir partnership allows our customers to leverage the strengths of each platform as they deploy our solutions side by side. We have built tight product integrations that make sure that when you make an investment in one platform, you can easily leverage that investment in the other. The result so far has been incredible. In the 3 short months since we've announced our partnership, we've already engaged with dozens of our joint customers, including multiple Fortune 100 companies. So we've oriented a little bit around why we're partnering. Now I want to talk about how we're partnering. Our partnership is centered around 4 pillars of product integration: data federation, governance integration, compute federation or compute pushdown, and AI and workflow integration. The first of these pillars is data federation. Now you can seamlessly federate data from your Open Data Intelligence Platform into Palantir Foundry. A really common deployment model we saw before our partnership was our customers would build their medallion architecture in Databricks, and then they would ingest some or all of that data into Palantir Foundry. This created duplicate copies of the data, and if any additional data transformation needed to occur in either platform, it became really challenging to keep those data assets in sync. With our partnership, we've eliminated this need for data duplication. Now, Foundry can simply reach out to Unity Catalog and federate data directly from Databricks into Foundry for use in the ontology and in the application layers. The second pillar of product integration is governance integration. As I'm sure many of the folks in this room are already Databricks customers, you know the importance of Unity Catalog in the Open Data Intelligence Platform. Now, Foundry can authenticate with Unity Catalog via workload identity federation. This means that from within Foundry, you can access Databricks APIs without the need for secrets, without the need for Databricks secrets. Additionally, Foundry can now accept vended credentials from Unity Catalog for read and write access directly to Unity Catalog tables. This means that as you build jobs within Foundry, you can now directly read and write to Unity Catalog. Another key feature of our platform integrations is compute pushdown. This means that Spark jobs orchestrated through Foundry can now leverage Databricks compute clusters. This gives our customers the ability to leverage the best-in-world compute engine in Databricks, regardless of which platform they're using. So imagine you have an ETL job that exists in Foundry, your PySpark code can physically live in Foundry, but that PySpark code can reference a Databricks table as the input. It can reference a Unity catalog or a Databricks table as the output. And when you click build, you can actually run that Spark job on your Databricks clusters. The final pillar of product integration is AI and workflow integration. As your data science teams make investments in machine learning models in Databricks, we want to make sure that those investments are easily leverageable within Foundry. So we know that your data science teams are spending a lot of time building, training, deploying, even fine-tuning machine learning models. And as they're doing this, we want to make sure that those models are exposed in Foundry for use in that operational layer and in the ontology. So we've talked about the why of the partnership and the how of the partnership. Now I want to talk through a couple examples from some of our earliest partnership engagements. R1 RCM is one of the first adopters of the Palantir and Databricks partnership. R1 is a leading revenue cycle management company that has built a platform that sets the standard for healthcare. With unparalleled access to data, leading technologies, and advanced analytics, R1 is helping providers transform their approach to financial performance and to patient care. R1 integrates with 94 of the top 100 US health systems. They are supporting automated revenue cycle workflows at scale across the largest repository of proprietary RCM data. This repository includes 180 million annual payer transactions and 550 million annual patient encounters. As you can see, operating at an extraordinary scale is crucial to R1's business. At this scale, reducing data duplication, maintaining a single source of truth for data, and maximizing operational efficiencies is key to the success of R1. To achieve this scale, R1 is partnered with both Palantir and Databricks. With our platform integration, as noted by Zhang Zhu, VP of Architecture at R1, R1 has been able to seamlessly integrate data and AI assets and capabilities in Databricks to augment and accelerate their Gen AI solution builds in Foundry. Another one of our early partnership engagements is with BP. I imagine that most of the folks in this room have heard of BP before. BP has been delivering energy to the world for over 100 years. The scale of operations and also of the data at BP is massive. BP employs over 100,000 employees, and it is crucial that their workforce is able to leverage the wealth of knowledge and insights that exist within their data. To make this possible, BP needs to unify their data landscape and make data accessible for not only data practitioners, but for also their application builders and their business users. BP is achieving these goals by leveraging the integrations that we have built through the Palantir and Databricks partnership. The importance of this partnership has been recognized at the highest levels within BP, including by EVP of Technology at BP, Emeka Emembolu, who recognized that this partnership is empowering teams across BP, maximizing the value of their data, and accelerating AI adoption. So we've now covered the what, the why, and the who of the partnership. I want to go into some details around a conceptual architecture that we've seen deployed in the field. And then we're going to go into a demo of some of the product integrations that we've built recently. I'm going to kick it over to Sid.
Yeah. Hey, I see some familiar faces in the crowd. Glad that you all could make it. Yeah, I think just to sort of like give you sort of a product lens into this, I want to first touch upon how the conceptual architecture looks like at R1, and we're getting really close to this, which is being able to essentially federate data from any of the sources that we'd like to. And in this case, Databricks has proved to be sort of one of the layers that holds all of the structured tables that we can then virtualize without replicating within Foundry. And that's one of our key pillars of investments. And all of that sort of unlocks these use cases that you see towards the right-hand side pretty rapidly, right? So folks aren't sort of like spending time creating sort of connections, syncing data across both platforms, making sure whether or not they're sort of at parity. This sort of is immediately sort of realized as soon as like you have any updates in the Databricks instance. And to sort of give you a little bit of a perspective on like what this looks like at the product level, we want to jump away from slides and actually show you some of the sort of like meat and potatoes behind the scenes, especially on the connector interface, the virtual tables, the compute integrations, and so on. That said, I'm going to quickly switch this HDMI cable, and let's see if the AV fails on me today.
You guys are getting a live demo.
Yeah. Cool. With that sort of thing, I want to quickly sort of touch upon a few things here. The 4 pillars, as Ben mentioned, the first one and sort of the most critical one here is around governance integration. So being able to sort of use Unity Catalog and source and sort of the exploration features within the Databricks source is a key feature within sort of this investment that we're making between the product teams. Being able to sort of like at the service principal level, sort of orchestrate these governance parameters is also sort of paramount importance. So what I'm going to show you now is parts of the product that can sort of give you an idea of how these things look like live, right? As you can see, I'm in the Foundry instance now, and I'm in the data connection application. We have a named Databricks connector that gives you sort of a full guided form as to how you'd set up the connection, some of the config details on like how you'd sort of do workload identity federation, as Ben was mentioning earlier. Now, I'm not going to set this up live, but in an instance where this has already been pre-set up for me, it would look something like this, where I've sort of defined what my auth parameters are, how sort of I'm vending credentials from the various sort of like sources of data, and then also like what are the sort of primitives that are provided for allow listing access to the Databricks instance in this case. As I mentioned to you earlier, we've invested a lot of effort into also being able to sort of explore the source across the catalogs that you have access to as the user here. And then in a very sort of like shopping cart-like fashion, you're able to configure the data sets that you'd like to virtualize in Foundry for use in the ontology.
So this is Palantir Foundry, and on the left-hand side, we can see our Unity catalog deployment. So you can see the catalog, we can see the different schemas that we've given access to, and you can point and click and decide, here are the 15 tables that I want to federate into Foundry.
Awesome. And as you connect those, you can essentially use those virtual tables like you would use any other sort of Foundry data set to transform them all in service of curating the ontology. The piece that I ended up showing you already sort of before walking through it was the governance integration sort of plays really neatly with data integration where you do zero copy federation of data. So every sort of table that I'm pulling from Databricks here is essentially a virtual table. So there's no sort of history of transactions or sort of any kind of replication that's occurring here. Real time, we're able to essentially pull from Databricks the rows and columns that are being updated in the source system here. And this second pillar of integration sort of is undergoing a lot of changes here, but you're sort of going to get the best-in-class features to be able to sort of seamlessly operate between the two platforms. Cool. I think the third and one of the key pillars of integration here are compute integration. And as all of you all are sort of IT leaders, architects, tech leads sort of your groups, you're thinking about how you want to orchestrate compute and how you should sort of make sure that you can use the best of both platforms. And in that vein, we've heard your concerns. And what we've provided essentially is sort of like seamless compute integration between the two platforms. And the ability to here sort of read and write to the Unity catalog and leverage your Databricks clusters for your Spark jobs from within sort of a Foundry deployment is what may enable sort of this pillar to be really successful. And folks who are sort of used to the Foundry environment, building sort of like transformations within, can essentially continue to sort of stick to the tools that they know, at the same time sort of orchestrating compute out to Databricks where they want to use or leverage their clusters. And so this has been sort of a key pillar of investment. What I'm going to show you is a live demo of a transformation that has actually run in the Databricks cluster, but has been orchestrated from Foundry. Well, I'm pulling that up, Ben, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I think the compute federation is a really exciting feature. We've seen many of our joint customers where maybe they've spent a lot of time building out their PySpark pipelines within Foundry, but then they want to run these jobs on Databricks Compute, and now you have that option. You can even use serverless compute for these PySpark jobs, and so regardless of which platform you're using, you can leverage the Databricks Compute clusters, which has been highly requested from our joint customers, and we delivered this feature on April 21st as part of our partnership.
So as you can see in this lineage, we've got essentially a PySpark transformation that is essentially orchestrated out to Databricks. And if I had to open that up, I may have preloaded this already. You can essentially see the history of transactions that have been recorded against that data set. So every time I kick off a build from within Foundry, I can essentially sort of orchestrate or sort of club all the different transformations in a lazy way and sort of push them over to Databricks so that they're executed in my Databricks cluster. I've had sort of a rich build history against this one table here. But again, this could be a data strategy in which you're sort of like pulling tables virtually, sort of using those virtual tables to create transformations and then orchestrating that compute out to your Databricks cluster while still sort of maintaining provenance and lineage across the two systems. Cool. Last but not the least, I think this partnership would be remiss without sort of doing workflow integration. So being able to sort of develop, train, and deploy your ML models in Databricks while still being able to leverage it in the application layer in Foundry is a use case we've seen over and over again across our partners. And so in that vein, what we've sort of invested here is in being able to sort of register models that you may have authored in your sort of Databricks environment and sort of connect to them and run inference inside the platform. Here, for example, I've got a notebook environment where I've authored a ML model, which is pulling from tables that have been either sort of orchestrated from Foundry or existed within Databricks. And this sort of like random forest model, which has bad accuracy because I'm not a good ML engineer, is now sort of orchestrated in Foundry by registering that as an endpoint in the platform. And what that sort of gives me access to is specifically this. I can essentially sort of use the connector to pull that model and then run sort of a function as an inference interface inside the platform. And that not only applies to ML models that may be supervised or unsupervised models that you're sort of configuring, these can also be large language models that may be in the Databricks platform, right? And all of that sort of culminates into this sort of like clean ontology that gives me the objects and the entities that I can then sort of use to supercharge use cases in my platform. Here, one of those use cases is, for example, around process optimization and being able to sort of seamlessly integrate across those two systems allowed sort of this kind of a workflow to come about within a matter of like days versus like taking many, many months for data integrations and things like that. So you don't have to necessarily move things between platforms. You can use the best of both worlds. I think that sort of covers all the sort of pillars of integration that we wanted to touch on today. And again, this partnership is new, but also like evolving rapidly. And we're excited to partner with our folks here. And maybe Ben, if you want to sort of close it out.
Yeah, I really want to call out all of the product integration that we've built as part of this partnership is intended to allow our customers to leverage the investments that they've made in one platform easily in the other. As your data engineering teams, your data science teams, and your data practitioners are spending a lot of time in one platform, making investments, building models, building data models, writing pipelines, we want to make sure that that work does not need to be duplicated between our platforms. And so all of the product integration work that we've built today has an effort of increasing time to value for our customers by reducing data duplication, reducing duplication of work, and allowing you guys to leverage the strengths of each platform. If you'd like to learn more about our partnership, We issued a press release on March 13th. If you Google Palantir and Databricks press release, you should find it pretty easily. Also, all of the features that Sid demoed today are documented on Palantir's website at palantir.com/partnerships/Databricks. And lastly, if you would like to get in touch or in contact with our team, please scan this QR code. Make sure you include Palantir partnership somewhere in the message details, and someone from my team at Databricks will reach out. Then we can coordinate how we want to partner together and get Palantir and Databricks in contact around your use case. Also want to call out, please complete your surveys. After every Data and AI Summit session, you will be sent a survey, and these surveys and your feedback are very important for helping us prioritize content for next year. So please take it seriously. You guys are what makes Summit. Please submit your feedback.